what makes this project unique is the fact that it is going to be running for 12 years. So while there have been lots and lots of basic income trials, there has never been any that commits to giving transfers for that long time. Okay. So that makes it very unique. And because we are coming in as, you know, people who also want to learn about what's happening with the basic income, what we have done is we have designed our basic income as a randomized control trial. So a randomized control trial pretty much means that we randomly select people to participate in this experiment, and then we assign them to different groups. So we have 4 different groups that we have assigned different groups of people. So we have one group of people that is going to be receiving a basic income for 12 years.
Monthly?
Monthly transfers of $22 per adult living in an eligible village, receiving a basic income for 12 years.
And adults 22?
Yes.
And children?
No. So
not at all.
So when we get into a village, we give only adults. Anybody who is 18 years and above. 18 and above.
Okay.
Yeah. So we give 18 years and above, and it will be everybody 18 years and above in the selected village. So there are some villages where those 18 years and above adults are going to receive $22 per month for 12 years.
Okay.
And we have 44 villages of that kind.
Okay, so this is one group.
That is one group.
Okay.
The second group has about 80 villages, and these are also adults of 18 years and above, receiving $22 per month, but for 24 months. The third group, 77 villages, adults 18 years and above, receiving $22 grants per month for as a one-time lump sum, but equivalent to 2 years. So for this third group, we allocate them the equivalent of 2 years disbursements. And then we collate it together, we put it together, and we give them in 2 equal transfers.
So
it's divided into 2.
1 year half, next year half, no.
1 month half, you take 2 months, you get the next half. Yes, okay. So they actually receive that whole amount within 4 months. They've received all the money. And then the last group is what we call a control group. A control group is pretty much a group of villages that have the same characteristics like the other 3, but who we do not give anything. They would help us to understand from the baseline, how does giving a basic income change people's lives, and what about people who don't receive a basic income? So these ones who don't receive a basic income are our controls. We will use them to compare whether there is a change, positive or negative, in either the ones that are receiving or the ones that are not receiving. So in terms of when we launched this project, we started off in November last year when we entered the first sets of villages to start enrolling people. And the first group of people received their transfers in January 2018. So it means since we started, we've had about 7 months of disbursements going out to different villages. Yes. And
can you already see some directions, or already possible to make some conclusions?
Right. Yeah, so for this experiment, because it's an experiment, those villages are protected. They are protected because it's not us who are going to assess. We have a team of researchers, professors who are coming from the US, and the renowned researchers from MIT, Princeton University, UC San Diego, who are going to be doing the assessments on our behalf.
Okay.
So for us not to interfere, we don't visit those villages.
You don't visit even?
No.
You don't see the people?
We don't visit those villages.
So you're just responsible for the technical
transfer? We are, yes, for the technical transfers. If we visit the village, we only visit if there is a problem that needs to be fixed that is related to the technical transfers. But the research team are the ones that go into the village, they conduct the baseline, then they do a follow-up assessment, and then they will do an end line. However, because we are just as interested as you are, we have 2 villages that are not part of the experiment. And these ones we call the pilot villages. And the 2 pilot villages help us to, get in and experience what these people, our recipients, feel when they start receiving a basic income. So for those, we have one village where we sent the first transfer in October 2016. So in the next 1 month, actually the disbursement that is going to go out in September will mark 24 months since they started receiving the transfers.
Okay.
So we use that village to help us see what are the dynamics that we are likely to see in the experimental villages. So right now, for example, after 24 months, we can start predicting what would happen to those people who are going to receive money for 24 months, just by looking at what is happening in the pilot village 24 months after they've received the money. And we have some indications of what's happening in that village. And we see quite exciting, some really exciting things from the village. One exciting thing is giving people a transfer has enabled the community to have a way of engaging with each other. So we have them join together in groups where they use as saving groups. So they save money in groups and they share every month. What we see is we send $22 and these community members come together and out of their $22, they take $10. And that $10 is pulled together. And in 1 month, it is given to one member of the group.
And was that an idea of them? Or what is that?
That was their idea. Absolutely their idea. So actually when we went into this village, there was just one such group. And for them, the moment we came in, they saw this as an opportunity to make that group flourish. And they started meeting immediately. It was a group of 10 women. And
women?
Yes, they were only women. And they
started had the idea of this collecting?
Yes, they had the idea of collecting money together and sharing it out every month. But they didn't have a consistent source of money that they could use to sustain that group. So when we came in, for them the first idea was, wow, we need to revive our group. And they started it. And it was just one group in that village. As we speak today, 23 months later, we have 9 groups that have been formed. Then I also wanted to talk about gender relationships, which is something I find really interesting out of what I see in the village. So speaking to women and their husbands, either separately or together. One thing that has happened is there is better peace at the household. Women feel like they feel more peaceful at the house. They feel more engaged and involved in the decision making at the household. They feel more respected because most of these women, they spend most of their time as housewives, spending time in the house. So they don't bring income into the household. It's the man who goes, looks for money, brings back food or brings up money for the man, for the woman to budget. So what happens is either she's given less money or she's given money with conditions. So what they feel, and when they're brought for this money, they're restricted on what they can use the money for.
So the man decides.
The man decides what
the woman spends the money on.
Yes.
And now?
Now they get the money, they sit down, they write down the things they need, they budget together, and together they say, how much can you contribute, how much do you have? And that sharing, the women feel like it has, improved the relationship between them and their husbands. They don't quarrel more often, they don't have domestic violence, they don't have, disrespect from their husbands, which is something that is really intriguing. Yeah.
Do you see in general any difference on how women take basic income and how men take basic income?
So there definitely has to be a difference because women's way of making decisions is different from the way men make decisions. So for women, especially the women that we have received these transfers from us, food security is at the top of their priority. Improving their household is at the top of their priority. Making sure that their children go to school is at the top of their priority. So you will hear them say, I bought school uniform for my child, I made sure that my child ate before they went to school. So for them, those are really important things. You will hear men talk about, I want to build a new house, I want to save up this money so it is a lot so I can pay for school fees. So they are more interested in more capital investment. I want to buy domestic animals. But the other thing that we've seen over time is that when these people come into groups, they actually share ideas in these groups. And now we can hear that there is some more like similarity. You hear women also now talking about, I want to buy domestic animals to keep in my home. You know, they're saying we are saving up to improve my house, to build my house, make it better.
I see. So it's sort of mixing.
It's mixed. It's really mixed.
The fields of...
Yes, yes. And then women, I have seen that women engage more in businesses.
Wow.
Because of the amount of money, women are more resilient. They are more able to take part or to participate in small micro businesses and enterprises.
So the women use it directly.
They pick it up. They pick it up in a lot of dimensions: food, education, health, business. They're saving. They're just unbelievable.
Great.
They're just unbelievable.
Great.
Yes.
Who else is watching your project? Is it like the politicians here in Kenya or the media? Do they report? Do people on the street know about it? I spent now 1 week with the National Youth Orchestra of Kenya, and I spoke, like eating, we spoke a bit about basic income, and actually quite a few have heard about the project.
Yes.
Others said, what? Basic income, never heard about it. But how is it if you go on the street? People know?
Locally, we don't have a lot of media attention to the basic income.
No?
Not a lot.
Why do you think?
I think they either are not finding it as sexy stories,
sexy story.
They don't find it sexy. I don't know why. Because
but it is very sexy.
It is. It's a really, it's new. It's something that is just, it is shaking the status quo. And my hope was that media would just be running, local media, for example, would just be running to come and say, hey, there's something that is going on. We want to write about it. That's actually not the case. I've had like 2 media people, journalists who I have talked to, and they were very much interested to write a story, but they didn't get an okay from their editors.
What?
Unbelievable. So the media has not picked it up.
That, I must say, has changed a lot in Europe.
But in most of the stories that we cover for this project are Europe and the US. Tons and tons and tons of media coverage. I can't say how many stories we've written about this story, this project, but they're all coming from outside. Over time, I'm sure there's going to be more interest from the local media. In terms of politicians, again, the politicians in the areas where we work, very interested, very engaged, and they monitor the project.
In their areas.
Okay. They monitor the project, they talk to us, they come back and report to us how other politicians are envying them for having received such a good project for their people. And we've had even politicians walk to our offices here in Give Directly asking us, why can't you also bring this project to our community? Why don't you bring this project to my people? So they know what this project can do.
I think all of what you say somehow has to question the development aid that Europe used to give to this part of the world. I mean, we have to rethink or even reinvent it completely, I think, right? This because the donor is so much on top of the receiver.
Exactly.
And I think this is what has to change, right?
Cash transfer generally is a way of bringing change in the space of philanthropy. And what we are telling donors is there is very high efficiency when you deliver cash. You get more value for your money. Right now at Give Directly, for every $100 that we get, $91 gets to the recipient, which is really high. Number 2, cash is very easy to deliver. You take a very short time to get money to the hands of the people. So in terms of how much time you spend as a donor supervising how your work, your money has been delivered, cash shortens that period. The third thing is cash empowers people. When you give people money, you put decisions in their hands. You give them a choice. What we've been doing mostly in the development sector is we sit down in boardrooms, design projects, and imagine what could be a problem in the communities that we've never stepped in, people we've never met, problems we've never interacted with. We design projects, send tons of money into those communities, and imagine that it is going to create change. The people who are actually the victims of poverty have never been given an opportunity to participate in the decision making for what changes their lives. And that is what cash does. Cash gives them the autonomy to make the decision. At a personal level, many times we make blanket decisions about communities. And it's not that to say that we don't need those community projects. We still need them. We need water. We need health facilities. We need schools. But those can be given in different paradigms. But when we want to change the lives of individuals at family level, let's give them the opportunity to make that decision. And that is why we give cash. There have been studies, and there's one study that has shown evidence that if donors put their money in cash to give people directly and give them the opportunity to make decisions about their lives, we would be spending half what we are spending now every year on development aid. So pretty much it says that currently donors are putting in about $140 billion into aid. Yet we only need between 70 and 80 billion dollars to reverse, to move people from one level of poverty to the next. So it means it's crazy.
Yeah.
We are wasting almost half the money that goes into development aid.
So that means it doesn't have to do with money, it has more to do with power.
It's more to do with power.
Yeah.
Like if you have power, you can make decisions for other people just because you have the power. And it doesn't mean that when you are in power that you can make the right decisions on behalf of the other people. Actually, when you put power in the hands of the people, they will make decisions that will save money, they will save time, they will save resources. They will save you everything, including the drama and the stress of having to think about what their problem is.
And it will probably make their life much more happy and much more rich and much more independent and all of that.
And you can't believe it. I have been working in this sector for over 15 years, working for different NGOs in different kinds of programs. And many times there are two things that we always asked, and donors wanted us to always talk about: sustainability and ownership. There is no way we can make people own things they have not been a part of. We cannot make people own programs they have not been a part of their design. Right now, it's very logical.
Yeah.
When you give people money, if they take that money to school, they will own the success or the failure of the investment they made in that money.
And they will be responsible for
and they will be ready to move to the next step. People also invest. When you give them money, they don't just swallow it and eat all of it. They invest. We go to these villages and they will tell you, we don't want to burn kerosene. We want to have solar. When they use solar...
They say that?
Yes.
They want solar?
Not that they say. They do. They have bought solar lamps. There are people who are paying monthly installments to pay up for solar lamps that they've installed in their homes.
In your villages?
Yes, in our villages. So when people buy solar, what can it be if it is not environmental conservation?
Great.
It is like cash has...
On all levels.
All levels. Yeah. Like you can look at cash from all perspectives. Only if we get more focused, we can save this world. But if we still peddle power and use top-down approaches, then we can go on and on and on doing the same things over and over again and asking the same questions about why our money is not creating any impact.